I have to be brutally honest about something strange unfolding in supermarkets nationwide that barely anyone is noticing right now. I've been monitoring this trend for a year and a half, and the evidence is crystal clear. 11 particular products are silently evaporating from store inventory, and once you see what is headed our way, you will want to grab these today. Before diving deeper, please hit subscribe because what I'm sharing might spare you serious money and massive headaches in upcoming months. Number 8 costs under $5 and fixes an issue that will crush most families when scarcity truly arrives. And when number 3 gets revealed, you will literally run to your nearest shop because this product is already showing sporadic disappearances across 7 different states. Listen, food costs are climbing faster than anyone can track. I created a complimentary emergency food guide that shows you precisely which 15 products you can purchase at Aldi or Walmart right now to sustain your household for 14 days. It delivers 28,000 calories for less than ordering pizza. Grab your shopping guide in the description below. Here's the truth everyone is missing. Those supply disruptions from several years back, most folks assume they ended. Wrong. They simply transformed. Rather than universal stockouts, we're witnessing particular products vanish for weeks, resurface briefly, then disappear once more. This pattern is actually more threatening because panic has not started yet, but industry contacts I've talked with are discreetly building stockpiles of these precise 11 products. 3 weeks back at my neighborhood grocery outlet, a complete aisle sat totally empty, not partially stocked, absolutely bare. I questioned the manager about what occurred. He glanced around nervously like he wanted privacy and whispered that corporates stopped providing restocking timelines on specific merchandise anymore. That moment told me this situation is larger than public acknowledgement. Product number 1 is jar sealing lids. Yes, this seems dull initially, but listen closely. Standard mouth and wide mouth preservation lids are vanishing. A friend working in production for a major canning equipment manufacturer shared something chilling with me. Their machinery producing these lids constantly malfunctions. These are devices from the 1970s that have zero available replacement components. They are literally creating custom pieces just to maintain operation. The whole sector runs on outdated equipment. Last summer during prime preservation season, lids sold out universally for 90 consecutive days. Consumers paid quadruple normal costs online, and that happened during a typical year. But even if preservation is not your thing, here is why lids matter. They work perfectly for resealing containers for dry ingredient storage. You can reuse them many dozens of times, and in any trading scenario, these become incredibly precious. I visited a rural supply shop yesterday and they stocked exactly 4 packages remaining. The employee mentioned they previously carried hundreds. I purchased every single package. That's 48 lids for $16. A package costing $3 2 years prior now runs 7 or 8 with inconsistent availability. I maintain 200 lids in reserve. They occupy minimal space. Trust me, by next year these will be unobtainable at any cost. Product number 2 is ground black pepper. I understand you're thinking this sounds absurd, but stay with me here. Black pepper is approaching serious trouble. Roughly 35% of global black pepper originates from Vietnam, and Vietnam faces its worst dry spell in 3 decades. Their pepper harvests are collapsing. Last year saw production drop 22%. This year projects even worse results. Pepper requires 3 to 4 years growing from planting through harvest, so even with immediate weather improvement, we face shortages spanning years. You might wonder why this matters beyond just using less seasoning, but consider what pepper truly accomplishes. It's not merely taste, it preserves, it extends food longevity. In situations where cooling is unreliable, having genuine peppers separates lasting food from rotting food. Last winter, I ran an experiment. I prepared 2 batches of homemade dried meat, one with pepper, one plain. The plain batch developed mold within 3 weeks. The peppered version lasted 4 months with 0 problems. I visited a restaurant wholesaler and bought a 5-pound container of whole black peppercorns for $28. Whole peppercorns remained good indefinitely in sealed containers. Ground versions lose strength within months. Purchase whole peppercorns and a basic grinder. The taste is dramatically superior and your reserve lasts forever. A small bottle of whole peppercorns costs $6 at regular stores. My 5-pound container equals roughly 40 bottles. That represents $240 worth of pepper for $28. During the spice shortages in 2021, black pepper disappeared first. Restaurant operators hoarded it. Stock up while currently available. Product number 3 is distilled white vinegar. Number 3 sits on your cleaning shelf currently. White distilled vinegar, the inexpensive gallon containers of plain white vinegar. This material is a miraculous item that will become absolutely essential. Vinegar ranks among the most adaptable emergency supplies you can accumulate, and the distribution network is more delicate than realized. Most white vinegar derives from corn, and with corn being redirected toward ethanol manufacturing and corn harvests facing weather challenges, vinegar manufacturing gets pressured. I've witnessed shortages emerge randomly across 3 states already. 1 week fully available, next week totally gone. That represents the warning signal. Vinegar preserves food. You can pickle produce and extend shelf life months without cooling. It disinfects surfaces. Combine with water and you create a cleaning solution killing bacteria. It boosts laundry performance. Add 1 cup to washing and it eliminates smells. And here is the critical point. If water purity becomes questionable, adding vinegar helps make it safer for consumption. In emergency situations, vinegar acidity destroys certain bacteria and parasites. Last summer, during a water boiling notice, I used vinegar extensively. My household stayed healthy while neighbors got sick. The pricing is remarkable. 1 gallon of white vinegar costs $3. $3 for something this versatile. I store 20 gallons in my reserve area. Vinegar never spoils. It lasts perpetually. The acidity prevents bacterial or fungal growth. Keep it in original plastic containers in cool, dark locations. Consider this situation. Power fails for 14 days during summer. Your refrigerator holds vegetables about to spoil. With vinegar, you rapidly pickle them in glass jars and they survive months. You just rescued $100 of groceries. In a barter system, vinegar will carry incredible worth. 1 gallon could trade for $20 or $30 value. Once awareness spreads about how critical this is, it will evaporate. Product number 4 is baking soda, another essential hiding in obvious places. Baking soda. Let me share about someone who survived the economic crash in Argentina during 2001. He explained baking soda became one of the most exchanged items in his neighborhood, more precious than imaginable. Here is the reason. Baking soda serves medical purposes. It neutralizes digestive acid. Mix 1 teaspoon in water for immediate heartburn relief. It addresses bee stings and bug bites. Create a paste and spread it. The irritation vanishes. It substitutes toothpaste. Blend with water and you have a cleaning abrasive preventing tooth decay. Dental issues become life-threatening infections absent modern healthcare. It deodorizes spaces. Place an open container in your refrigerator or storage. It absorbs odors. When trash collection halts and things smell terrible, this becomes vital. It extinguishes fires. Toss baking soda on a grease fire and it suffocates flames. Never apply water to grease fires. And it leavens baked goods. If yeast becomes unavailable, you can still create bread rises with baking soda and acid. A friend who endured Hurricane Katrina told me baking soda was among their most utilized items. They used it for dental care, treating skin irritations, cleaning surfaces, controlling odors when plumbing failed, and extending food. He mentioned having baking soda felt like possessing a pharmacy and cleaning closet combined. The expense is negligible. A box of baking soda costs $1. $1 single dollar. I maintain 20 boxes stored. Each box weighs 1 pound, so 20 boxes represents 20 pounds, taking minimal space. Baking soda lasts forever. Keep it sealed and dry, and it never expires. I rotate stock every 2 years anyway because I use it constantly. Here is something interesting. During the pandemic, baking soda stayed available when nearly everything vanished. People overlooked it, but smart preppers grabbed it. Do not make that error. Purchase 10 boxes next shopping trip. Product number 5 is table salt. Number 5 seems so basic that people ignore it. Regular table salt, not fancy sea salt or pink Himalayan varieties, just plain iodized table salt. Salt represents one of humanity's oldest preservation methods, and it will become gold during shortages. Salt preserves meat. You can cure meat and it lasts months without refrigeration. Before modern cooling existed, salt was how humanity survived winters. It preserves vegetables. Salting vegetables draws out moisture and prevents bacterial growth. It maintains electrolyte balance. When sweating heavily or experiencing illness, salt prevents dangerous dehydration. Your body requires sodium to function. And it improves flavor. When food is scarce and boring, salt makes unpalatable food edible. This matters more than you realize. Salt manufacturing sounds simple but relies on complex industrial processes. Most table salt comes from underground salt mines requiring heavy machinery and electricity. Any disruption halts production. During the Texas freeze several years ago, salt production stopped because processing plants lost power. Shortages lasted months. A container of table salt costs $1. $1 for a pound that could preserve 50 pounds of meat or vegetables. I keep 50 pounds of salt stored. That costs $50 total. Salt never expires. Keep it dry and it lasts forever. Ancient salt deposits are millions of years old and perfectly usable. Store salt in airtight containers to prevent clumping. Humidity makes it clump but does not ruin it. If it clumps, just break it apart. Here's practical application. You harvest a deer or buy bulk meat on sale. Without freezer space, that meat spoils quickly. With vinegar, you cure it and it lasts 6 months at room temperature. That is food security. In history, salt was so valuable that Roman soldiers received salt as payment. That's where the word salary originates. During scarcity, salt will regain that value. People will trade heavily for it. Purchase 10 containers next visit. Total cost $10. That's food preservation capability for a year. Product number 6 is dried beans. Number 6 is a prepper classic, but most people still don't have enough. Dried beans, specifically pinto beans, black beans, and kidney beans. Beans deliver complete protein when combined with rice or corn. They provide fiber, vitamins, and minerals. They store for decades when kept dry and cool, and they cost almost nothing. A pound of dried beans costs around $1. That pound yields 6 cups cooked beans. That is roughly 12 servings, 12 meals for $1.50. You cannot beat that value. But here is what worries me. Bean crops are failing. Droughts in Mexico and Central America, which supply significant dried beans to the United States, are devastating harvests. Last year saw a 15% decrease in bean imports. This year projects worse. Bean prices already climbed 30% in 18 months. That is dramatic for something so cheap. And availability is becoming spotty. Certain varieties randomly disappear from shelves for weeks. I spoke with a buyer for a major grocery chain. He mentioned their bean suppliers cannot guarantee consistent delivery anymore. That is alarming. Dried beans require zero preparation beyond soaking and cooking. No special skills needed. Anyone can cook beans. Store them in airtight containers in cool, dark places. Moisture and heat are enemies. Properly stored, beans last 30 years or longer. I keep 100 pounds of mixed dried beans. That is roughly 1,200 servings for $150. That represents a year of protein for one person, or 3 months for a family of 4. During economic collapse in Venezuela, beans became primary protein because meat became unaffordable. People survived on beans and rice. Do not underestimate this simple food. Here's the trick. If beans become too old and hard, add a pinch of baking soda to cooking water. It softens them faster. Also, sprouting dried beans creates fresh vegetables. Soak beans overnight, drain, rinse twice daily, and within 3 days you have nutritious sprouts. That turns shelf-stable food into fresh produce. Smart move. Product number 7 is white rice. Number 7 pairs perfectly with beans. White rice, not brown rice, specifically white rice. Brown rice contains oils that go rancid within 6 months. White rice, because the bran is removed, lasts decades. Rice feeds more humans globally than any other food. It is cheap, versatile, and stores forever when kept dry. A 20-pound bag of white rice costs around $15. That bag contains roughly 100 servings, 15 cents per serving. That is incredible value. But rice supply chains are fragile. Most rice consumed in America comes from Arkansas, California, and Louisiana. Drought in California decimated rice production. Arkansas faced flooding that destroyed crops. Louisiana dealt with hurricane damage. All 3 major rice-producing states experienced catastrophic problems recently. Rice prices climbed 25% already, and global rice supplies are tight. India, the world's largest rice exporter, banned rice exports last year to protect domestic supply. That removed millions of tons from global markets. When major exporters stop exporting, prices skyrocket.
I maintain 100 pounds of white rice in sealed buckets with oxygen absorbers. That cost me $75 and will feed my family for months. Rice stored properly lasts 20 to 30 years. Keep it sealed, dry, and cool. Avoid moisture at all costs. If rice gets wet, it molds quickly. During the pandemic, rice vanished from shelves for weeks. People who understood its value grabbed it immediately. Do not wait for the next crisis. Stock up now while plentiful and cheap. Here's bonus information. Rice is not just food. You can use it to dry out wet electronics. Submerge a wet phone in rice and it absorbs moisture. You can make rice water for skincare. Rice is incredibly versatile. Purchase several 20-pound bags next trip. Product number 8 is bar soap. Number 8 costs less than $5 and solves a hygiene crisis. Bar soap. Plain, basic bar soap. Not liquid soap, not fancy handmade artisan soap, just regular bar soap. Soap prevents disease. When sanitation fails, soap becomes your primary defense against infection. Washing hands with soap stops disease transmission. During cholera outbreaks, soap distribution saves more lives than medicine. Soap cleans wounds. Infected wounds kill people in survival situations. Keeping injuries clean prevents deadly infections. And soap lasts forever. A bar of soap sitting on a shelf for 10 years still works perfectly. Soap production requires specific chemicals and industrial processes. Disruptions stop production quickly. During early pandemic days, soap disappeared everywhere. Not just hand sanitizer, actual soap vanished. People panicked and hoarded it. A bar of soap costs $1. For something that could prevent deadly illness, that is absurd value. I keep 50 bars stored. That is $50 for a year's supply of hygiene security. Store soap in a dry location. Moisture makes it dissolve faster but does not ruin it. Keep bars wrapped or in sealed containers. Here's what people forget. In a barter economy, soap will trade extremely well. Hygiene becomes luxury during hardship. People will exchange valuable items for soap. Think about that. During the Bosnian War, soap was worth more than food sometimes because people valued dignity and cleanliness even during hell. Having soap meant maintaining humanity. Do not overlook this simple item. Buy a box of 20 bars next shopping trip. Total cost $20. Product number 9 is household bleach. Number 9 is sitting under your sink probably. Household bleach. Regular chlorine bleach. Not fancy splashless types or scented options, just standard bleach. Bleach purifies water. 8 drops of bleach per gallon of water eliminates bacteria, viruses, and parasites. In scenarios where water safety is questionable, bleach saves lives. It disinfects everything. You can sanitize surfaces, equipment, dishes, anything. This prevents illness when cleanliness becomes challenging. And it boosts laundry. Adding bleach to washing kills bacteria in fabric. But bleach degrades over time. After roughly 6 months, it starts losing strength.
After 1 year, it is substantially weaker. Chlorine naturally decomposes when exposed to air and light, so you cannot purchase 50 gallons and forget them. You must rotate inventory. I buy 6 gallons every 6 months. I use older stock for cleaning, and fresh stock enters storage for water treatment. This ensures I always have potent bleach. Store bleach in cool, dark places. Heat and light speed degradation. Keep it in original bottles, sealed tightly. Never mix bleach with anything, especially ammonia or vinegar. The gases can kill you. During the cholera epidemic in Haiti following the earthquake, chlorine bleach was among the most valuable items. Relief groups distributed it because it was the simplest method to make water safe. People traded food for bleach. Imagine a hurricane destroys your city's water processing facility. The water from your top is contaminated. Without bleach, you face serious danger. Boiling water works but requires fuel. Bleach is instant. 8 drops per gallon. Wait 30 minutes and you are safe. 1 gallon of bleach costs $4. For the capability to purify hundreds of gallons of water, that is insane value. Bleach production depends on chlorine, which requires a chemical process needing electricity and specialized facilities. Any disruption and manufacturing stops. We witnessed this during the Texas freeze years back. Chemical facilities shut down and bleach became scarce for months. Product number 11 is instant coffee. Alright, number 11 will be controversial, but I do not care. Instant coffee. And before coffee enthusiasts attack me, let me explain. I am not claiming instant coffee tastes good. I am saying it is a survival item that people undervalue. Coffee is not merely a beverage, it is a psychological tool. Caffeine helps you stay alert, improves mood, and provides energy when you are exhausted. In a crisis where stress is high and sleep is poor, coffee keeps you functional. But here's why instant coffee beats regular coffee for stockpiling. Instant coffee lasts forever. Sealed jars can last 20 years or longer. Ground coffee goes stale within weeks and loses caffeine content. And instant coffee requires no equipment. You do not need a coffee maker, a filter, or even a brewing method. Just add hot water or cold water if desperate. I was at a disaster relief location following a major flood. Volunteers were working 16-hour days in brutal conditions. Morale was tanking. Someone arrived with a giant jar of instant coffee and a kettle of hot water. Within 1 hour, the entire mood shifted. People were smiling, working faster, helping each other. One jar of cheap instant coffee made that happen. Instant coffee is trade good. In a barter economy, luxuries become incredibly valuable, and coffee is the ultimate luxury. People will trade food, tools, and supplies for coffee. I talked to someone who lived through the Bosnian War. He said coffee was worth more than cigarettes. Think about that. The cost is stupidly cheap. A big jar of instant coffee is $8 and contains roughly 100 cups. That's 8 cents per cup. Compare that to freeze-dried coffee some preppers purchase at $3 per serving. But here's the warning. Coffee crops are failing. Climate change is hitting coffee growing regions hard. Brazil, which produces roughly 1/3 of global coffee, had massive crop failures last year due to drought and frost. Prices are climbing, and coffee plants require 3 to 5 years to mature, so we're locked into shortages for years, even if conditions improve. I keep 10 jars of instant coffee in my pantry. That's 1,000 cups, enough to get me through a year-long crisis and have plenty remaining for trading. Store it in cool, dry places. Keep jars sealed until needed. Once opened, put the lid back on tightly and it will last months. Instant coffee is not just for drinking. You can use it in cooking. Coffee rubs for meat are incredible.